Naku po, heto na po, no? Ni-release na po ang mga pangalan ng mga congressman nitong si Joey De Vivry, yung ating kaibigang vlogger. Ni-release na nila yung mga pangalan ng mga congressman na posibleng magpirma dito sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Tingnan ninyo itong mga pangalan ng mga congressman na ito at tandaan ninyo, no, sa panahon ng 2028, wag nyo itong iboto itong mga pangalan na ito, okay? Titingnan nyo ito, hindi ko na lang ito babasahin, i-zoom na lang ninyo ito, screenshot nyo ito, i-zoom nyo na lang ito sa mga cellphones ninyo at tingnan, basahin ninyo ito mga pangalan ng mga congressman na ito, okay? Pwede nyo i-post yan sa mga Facebook ninyo na i-share. Tandaan, ito yung mga list of those who will author or co-author the draft transmittal resolution of the articles of impeachment. Okay, yan po ha. So 55 yan sila. Ano ba yan? So, ayan, pwedeng silang bumoto na against or bumoto na sang-ayon sila. Okay? Ayan, no? Laila de Lima, isa na dito si Luistro. Tingnan nyo lang. Kasi po, mahalaga po yan na makilala natin sino itong mga kontrabida ni VP Sara. Diba? At ipapakita ko sa inyo mismo itong ngayon lang ito ha. Sa Kamara House Committee on Justice ngayon ay itong si Representative Luistro nag-opening statement sa House panel votes on VP Sara impeachment. Todo na sila dito ngayon, nag-cramming na sila. Desperado na sila. Sa pangalawang video natin, pakinggan natin itong si Attorney Poa, legal team ni Vice President Sara Duterte. In-interview siya ni Karen Davila at dapat nating malaman yung mga hakbang na gagawin nila. Okay, pero unahin muna natin itong kay Luistro. Okay, pakinggan niyo si Luistro. Magre-react tayo dito ha. Pero bago ang lahat, like and share na dito sa Donmar TV kasi nakakatulong yan sa atin na yung mga impormasyon na mahalaga ay maaabot ito sa mamamayang Pilipino. At sa mga first time dito hindi pa nakasubscribe, subscribe na po kayo. Heto, Luistro, pasok!
Na ang banta ng pagpatay ay hindi biro.
Ito.
Ito ay Chair will address the committee. Good morning. Good morning. Malayo pa. Pero malayo na.
Malayo pa kasi hindi pa sila sure kung ma-impeach si VP Sara. Hindi pa sila sure. Kasi alam nyo mismo sa sarili ninyo na ang taong bayan galit sa inyo.
That is where we stand today. Yan po ang sitwasyon natin ngayon. We recognize that this has been a difficult and demanding process.
Difficult kasi mahirap kasing pagbibintangan ang isang taong walang kasalanan. Kasi hindi po yan difficult kung talagang totoo na may kasalanan si VP Sara sa mga aligasyon, akusasyon ninyo. Very easy lang yan. Pero na kayo, inamin na ninyo mismo, nahihirapan kayo kasi ang dami nyong ginawa para masira lang si VP Sara. Yan si Madriaga, si Trillanes, pinasok ninyo. Yung Salin, pinasok ninyo. Kung ano-ano mga pag-gimmick ninyo. Di ba? Ginawa ninyo ang lahat kaya nahihirapan kayo. Kasi mahirap talaga maghanap ng ebidensya na gawa-gawa lamang. Ang hirap, no?
But we also recognize how much we have already uncovered. Marami na tayong naabot
Marami na kayong sinira. Marami na kayong sinungaling na nagawa.
Mga nakaraang linggo. Today, we share a quiet sense of accomplishment
Char.
as we recognize and honor the distance we have traveled
Daming drama nito.
since we first began. Saksi tayong lahat. Marami tayong pinagdaanan. Our very first hearing was on March 2, where we established sufficiency in form. Sumunod ang March 4 for sufficiency in substance. At sa puntong yon, we asked the Vice President to file her answer. And she did. At ang nakapirma, 16 na abogado, 16 lawyers. Pero ang answer na isinumite, halos 10 pages lamang. At nakatutok lang sa mga technicalities, sa mga paligoy-ligoy, bagay na ikinagulat ng marami dahil sa totoo lang, hindi naman yon ang hinahanap natin. It was an answer that really just avoided the questions. Kaya naman, noong March 18, we determined that the complaints allege sufficient grounds for impeachment. Sumunod ang hearing sa March 25, kung saan we settled the preliminary matters, most especially ang pag-issue ng mga subpoena. Then came the marathon hearings of April 14, April 22, and April 29. Doon tayo nakinig sa mga resource person natin. We heard the evidence. We examined the evidence. At sa mga araw na iyan, doon natin naramdaman ang bigat ng ating ginagawa. May mga sandaling luminaw ang mga sagot at may mga sandaling mas dumami ang mga tanong. We certainly had our ups and downs. We had our inflows and outflows.
Ups and downs. Kasi yan ang nagpapatunay na nahihirapan kayo sa mga ginagawa ninyo dyan. Kasi malabo eh. Malabo ang inyong mga akusasyon, aligasyon ni BP Sara. Kahit anong gawin ninyo, makikita at makikita ninyo ang reaksyon ng taong bayan na hindi na talaga sila naniniwala dyan sa Committee on Justice mo, Luistro. Yan ang totoo.
Of testimonies and documents. But through it all, one thing remains certain. We never went sideways. Hindi tayo naligaw. Nanatili tayong may direksyon. We move, sometimes slow, sometimes painfully, but always forward towards the truth. Sinunod natin ang konstitusyon. Hindi tayo nagmadali. Hindi tayo nag-shortcut.
Hindi raw sila nagmamadali. Kasi alam ninyo, kung mamadaliin ninyo, sasablay rin yan sa Senado. So hindi sila nagmamadali, pero lagi nilang gumagawa sila ng kung ano-anong mga gimmick araw-araw dyan sa kamera, kung ano-anong ipinapasok nila na issue na hindi naman kasama sa impeachment complaint, si Madriaga, si Trillanes, si Salen. Kaya hindi kayo nagmamadali. Huwag nyo na kaming paikot-ikutin sa mga rason ninyo dyan, Luistro.
We honored the process. Bawat hakbang, bawat salita, bawat ebidensya, hinarap natin ng buong pag-iingat at pananagutan.
Char.
Sa paglalakbay na ito, napagod tayo. Sinubok ang ating pasensya,
We.
lalo na sa harap ng mga batikos mula sa labas. We saw the press conferences of the Vice President's camp. We saw the petitions filed in the Supreme Court and the complaint filed in the office of the city prosecutor. Opo, maraming hakbang ang ginawa upang pigilan ang prosesong ito. Pero sa kabila ng lahat, hindi tayo natinag. For in the end, it is not the absence of struggle that defined us, but the refusal to lose our way, the discipline to stay the course, and the clarity to never lose sight of where we are going. At noong mga nakaraang pagdinig, we have seen the evidence. Ito ang mga nakita at narinig natin. Una, ang testimonya ni Ramil Madriaga na base sa ebidensya, mas kilala sa pangalang Sir Ram. Pangalawa, ang mga misteryosong envelopes
Ang daming gimmick nila, no? Ang daming gimmick.
at ang mga questionableng resibo. Pangatlo, ang paliwanag ng NBI tungkol sa magkakaibang pangalan, ngunit iisa ang pirma. Pang-apat, ang sertipikasyon ng PSA na walang record ang mga pangalang katulad ng Mary Grace Piatos.
We.
Panglima, ang COA findings na nag-uutos ng refund na 73 million at 375 million. Pang-anim, ang ulat ng AMLC patungkol sa 6.7 billion na mga transaksyon. Napakalaking halaga na dumaloy sa mga account ng Vice Presidente at ng kanyang asawa. Pang-pito, ang mga natuklasan ni former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV na ang malaking bahagi ng kayamanang ito ay may kaugnayan sa illegal drugs. At ang mas nakakagulat, ang pahayag na ito ay tumutugma sa record ng AMLC.
Alam niyo, kayo lang ang naniniwala ni Trillanes. Dati kayo, yung ibang mga congressman dyan, nung balimbing pa sila ni Duterte, hindi naman sila naniniwala ni Trillanes. Ngayon, nakalaban na nila si BP Sara, naniniwala na sila kay Trillanes. And to tell you frankly, Luistro, wala nang naniniwala kay Trillanes na sa taong bayan. Pati nga, yung lugar niya mismo, wala nang naniniwala sa kanya. Hindi nga nanalo so walang naniniwala.
Pangwalo, ang mga dokumento mula sa SEC na nagpapatunay na walang kinikita ang
Lagi nilang pinaulit-ulit dyan, no? Sa Bisaya pa, makabungol na mo, paulit-ulit. Very redundant. Halatang halata na finifeed talaga nila yung media. Pinapakain yung media kasi kung anong sasabihin nito, ibabalita yan ng media Wag kami. Luistro, wag kami. Hindi na kami maniniwala.
mga kumpanya ng Vice Presidente kahit na natili siyang aktibo sa isa sa mga kumpanyang ito, nang ibig sabihin ay pinagsabay niya ang pagiging Vice Presidente at pagpapatakbo ng negosyo.
Negosyo.
At nitong huling pagdinig lamang, noong April 29, dalawang bagay naman ang napag-usapan natin. Una, ang selyadong kahon mula sa BIR Nasa
May mga pa box pa sila. Doon itapon dyan sa Itbulaga yan.
kabila ng matinding debate, hindi muna natin binuksan. Kahit nasa kapangyarihan naman natin, nabuksan ito.
Yes. Takot kayo. Kasi kung buksan ninyo yan, makakasuhan kayo dyan. Di ba anong sabi ni Paulo Marcoleta, Congressman Paulo Marcoleta, yung anak ni Senator Marcoleta, sige, buksan ninyo. Siguraduhin nyo lang na hindi labag sa batas yan. Di natakot silang lahat. Hindi nila binuksan. Ngayon, parason-rason pa kayong, may kapangyarihan kami pero hindi namin binuksan. Utot mo, Luistro.
Sabi nga ni Deputy Speaker Janet Guerin, ang puso natin ay gustong buksan ito. Pero ang isip natin, nagsasabing huwag muna. At dagdag pa rito, nagpahayag si Congressman Benny Abante, hindi porket kaya nating gawin ang isang bagay, ay dapat na nating gawin. At ang pangalawa, ang mga ebidensya ng pagmumura at ang pag-contract ng assassin. Grabe po itong mga ebidensyang ito.
Bakit may ebidensya kayo? Bakit ang NBI may ebidensya kayo? Hindi po yan ebidensya, ha? Hearsay po yan. Utot ninyo. Yan ang problema ninyo Akusa kayo ng akusa. Wala naman kayong physical na... May text message ba kayo sa assassin? Ha? Sinungaling to
Lalo na yung video ng Vice Presidente.
Yung video, ginamit niyong ebidensya ang sariling video ng live ng Vice President? Tapos sasabihin niyo ebidensya? Hindi yun. Live. Nag-live nga yung Vice President, meaning to say, she is confident on what she is saying. Tapos yun ang gawin ninyong ebidensya? Kasi, pinipilit nyong ayaw makaintindi sa sinabi ni BP Sara doon. Bunganga mo Tama yung sinabi ng isang vlogger sa'yo na mukha kang bakulaw. Bakulaw.
Laila de Lima described it perfectly when she said, noong gabing iyon,
Di ba nakakahiya? Committee chair, pero bias talaga. Hindi dito papasa sa Supreme Court talaga. Bias talaga siya.
nakita natin ang totoong Sara Duterte.
Sara Duterte. Nakita din Sara Duterte. Halang halata sa asta niya na galit ni BP Sara.
Lilisik ang mata. Halos bumula ang bibig.
Tingnan nyo Ikaw, congressman ka Tapos sabihin mo ng lilisik yung mata. Bumubula yung bibig. Hindi maganda yan. You are not being professional sa mga style ng paggawa ng inyong opening statement. Hindi po ganyan. Kahit galit kayo, may political issue kayo, dapat hindi ganun. Dapat formal pa rin yan Pero dito mo talaga makikita na ang choice of words na mga ginamit niya pang squatter. So, you cannot blame the Supreme Court na ibabasura na naman itong impeachment ni BP Sara talaga.
At lumabas ang dugo sa tenga.
Lumabas ang dugo sa tenga? Wow! Wala na akong nakitang lumabas sa dugo. Sinungaling ka Wala talaga. Ano ito exaggerated.
Dahil tila ba sasabog na ang kanyang ulo sa galit. At that point,
Grabe.
Congresswoman Janice Digamo once again shared her own painful experience as a victim of political violence herself.
Alam nyo si Janice Digamo, Ewan ko na lang kung mananalo pa ito Kasi kinontra na niya parang kino-question na ngayon si BP Sara Diyan sa Negros, si Janice Digamo, binoto yan, no? Oh. Kasi akala ng mga constituents sa Negros ay maka-Duterte itong si Janice. Ngayon, nagpakita na siya ng side niya na parang kino-question niya si BP Sara. Ewan ko lang kung mananalo pa siya.
Pinaalala niya sa atin na ang banta ng pagpatay ay hindi biro. Ito ay seryosong panganib sa buhay ng tao. Yan po ang lahat ng natalakay natin at pinag-aralan natin lahat ito. Sinuri ang bawat anggulo, katulad ng paalala ni Congressman Brian Poe noong nakaraang pagdinig. Seryoso ang tungkulin nating ito at dapat tratuhin ito na may kaukulang respeto. At sa gitna ng lahat ng ebidensyang ito, sa kabila ng lahat ng diskusyon natin, may isang bagay na hindi nagbago.
Nagbago.
Ang upuan. Ang bakanteng upuan.
Sinadya nila talaga, no? Alam nila na hindi pupunta si BP Sara sa kanilang hearing. Kasi useless. Hindi naman required si BP Sarang pumunta. Pero sinadya talaga nila na lagyan ng bangko, BP Sara, para magmukhang kasalanan na naman ni BP Sara na hindi siya sumipot. Di ba? Huwag kami, Luistro. Ito. Punta naman tayo dito sa, by the way yung, pangalan ng mga congressman yan i-zoom nyo lang. Yan ang mga posibleng mag-vote na o magpirma sa impeachment ni BP Sara. Tandaan nyo yan, huwag nyong iboto yan sa panahon ng eleksyon. Heto, basahin ko muna ito. Kay Ma'am Joey ito. Isa ba sa kanila ay congressman nyo? Bakit gigil na gigil sila kay VP Sara? Let them know what you truly feel. Yan ang sabi ni Ma'am Joey. Heto, pakinggan natin ngayon. Karen Davila with Attorney Poa kung ano na maging hakbang ng kampo ni VP Sara. Ito, panoorin natin. Bakit wala? Nasaan na kayo? Teka muna. Play.
All right, joining us this morning is Attorney Michael Poa, the spokesperson of Vice President Sara Duterte's defense team. Attorney Poa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ms. Karen, and thank you for having us once again on Head Start.
All right, the House Justice Committee reconvenes today. They will be voting on the committee report that contains the consolidated impeachment case against the Vice President. What are you expecting?
Well, we're actually expecting it to be approved today, maybe subject to certain amendments. Of course, I don't want to speculate, but we're definitely expecting it to be approved today. And I think I've already heard statements that they're scheduling this to be transmitted to the plenary for voting sometime May 11, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, that's subject to change, and that's within the discretion of the House.
All right. Now, you've heard, I want to ask you, certain sectors saying that there's not enough votes. Some have said there's more than enough. There's more than 106 to impeach her. What are your thoughts on this?
Alam niyo, ma'am, napakahirap kasi mag-speculate because you're right, no? Just a few days ago, there were statements saying walang votes. Not enough votes at least. And then I think yesterday or 2 days ago, now they're saying that there are enough votes. Sa atin naman, whatever happens, we're just ready for it. Of course, again, we maintain our objections dito sa mga proceedings na naganap sa House Committee on Justice, with all due respect, of course, to the members of the committee. But we all know that.
Tingnan nyo gaano ka-professional itong mga lawyers ni VP Sara itong si Attorney Poa. Yung tipong tatanggapin nila kung ano ang magiging results, no, kung mananalo ba sa pirmahan o matatalo, is sabi nila rerespetuhin namin yan at haharapin nila, di ba?
It's all about numbers at this point. So whatever happens in plenary, we'll just be monitoring the developments and we'll react accordingly.
Okay, Attorney Poa, looking back, couldn't the team have cooperated more? The results could have been different, they said, if the vice president actually attended. She had a seat at the House Justice Committee. Do you regret, does the
Kung itong si Attorney Powa, ha, kung balasubas pa ito, tinanong na niya si Karen, Karen, di ba in-interview mo si Trillanes? Naniniwala ka ron? Sensya na sa interruptions. Ha? Interruptions. Sorry.
team regret not participating completely with the proceedings?
Just to answer your question directly, no, we do not regret what we did, precisely because our objections were fundamental and constitutional, no, dito sa naganap na proceedings. Now, if I can just explain further, there's always been this notion that if the vice president showed up, she could have defended herself, etc. And in fact, we've seen at several instances, the camera pans and zooms on an empty chair, hindi ba? But then, practically speaking, number one, kung wala naman we filed the petition before the Supreme Court, we had to be consistent with our position on our objections to the conduct of these proceedings, or at least the nature or the manner it was conducted. Secondly, ngayon, let's say we were to participate, even as just a defense team, hindi naman kami makapag-participate dun kung wala ang respondent, hindi rin naman kami makapag-test ng credibility through cross-examination dun sa mga witnesses na present. Thirdly, and I think that this is another important point that we haven't really discussed fully. For example, if the vice president actually attended those hearings, as you know, they presented certain witnesses like Mr. Ramil Madriaga, AMLAC, etc. We were never given advance copies, no, of those reports or presentations, or even the supplemental affidavit of Mr. Madriaga. Now, in that instance, after the presentation of the witness, they would now ask the vice president to present her evidence and rebut whatever was said. But the thing is, how can we effectively rebut anything that was said on the spot without even having studied these documents? Precisely because we were never furnished copies of these documents before the hearing itself. Just to be fair to the House, they did furnish us copies, no, of these documents after the hearing. But then again, practically and legally speaking, how can one intelligently respond to all these allegations made when, we never got any advance copies of these documents for us to study them? And
Isa pa yan, ha? So, kita mo dito sa ka-bias nitong dito yung nakapula yan, si Luis Tro. Gaano sila kabayas, ha? Mantakin nyo, late na siguro nilang na-receive ang copy o hindi man lang nila natanggap, siguro, ganun. So, what's the meaning? Talagang sinadya nila na para mahirapan ang kampo ni BP Sara?
have an intelligent response.
Okay, now it's a given that it was called a mini trial, but it was not a trial per se. In effect, the proceedings were essentially aimed at just solidifying grounds for probable cause. And it is true, the threshold for probable cause, hindi naman mataas yun, mababa lang ang threshold nun. Given the fact that the House Justice Committee said they followed and they were very careful with the conditions set by the Supreme Court, do you agree that they followed the requirements of the Supreme Court?
You know me, ma'am, Ms. Karen, I've been very fair, especially with my commentaries, even if I'm in the defense team. We do recognize that there were instances when even Chair Luis Tro would even stop, diba, certain members from asking probing questions. But our problem really here is more on the complaints themselves, diba? Kasi yung complaints, and aminin natin, walang naka-attach doon ng mga documents. So for example, their claim on the SALN and the ill-gotten wealth, walang naka-attach. And our position is if we were to determine probable cause, normally, dapat ang naging evaluation is on the complaint, allegations therein, plus the pieces of evidence that were attached.
Correct.
But here, obviously, these documents were not attached, and these documents were obtained through compulsory processes, not by the complainants, but by the Committee on Justice itself. No? Sila yung
Grabe,
nagsubpoena
no?
for
Kasi dyan sa Kamara, merong mga complainant sa impeachment. E paano yan? Ang naghahanap ng ebidensya, mga Committee on Justice. Hindi yung complainant. Ano ba yan?
these documents. And when these documents came in, 'di ba? Hindi na kasi galing sa complainant 'yon.
Correct.
That was even after the fact that we have
And
filed
you
our
find
answer.
that questionable in nature because
Of course,
the
Karen.
characteristic of the House Justice Committee is essentially prosecutorial, right? In fact, even if it's meant to be a fair proceeding, their character is prosecutorial because they might be the prosecutors once this get to the Senate. 'Di ba? Parang mali ba yun na sila ang nagsabina ng ebidensya?
Para sa amin po, number one, let's also recognize that under their rules, they do have compulsory power, no, to issue these subpoenas. However, our position is, since sila na rin nagsabi, clarificatory yung nature ng mga hearings na ito, sana man lang yung mga pinanggalingan ng subpoena ay based on already evidence or pieces of evidence that were attached to the complaints. Iba kasi yung walang naka-attach, so then it makes you question, ano yung naging basihan ng mga allegations kung wala mang kopya ng kahit anong dokumento ang naka-attach dito. Secondly, these were again subpoenaed only after we have filed our answer and after the complainants have waived their opportunity to file a reply. Usually kasi wala namang problema mag-introduce ng additional documents ang complainants. That's why sa preliminary investigation, for example, may filing ng complaint, diba? And then we file our counter affidavit and then they can file the reply and even strengthen their case. However, in this case, iba kasi yung nangyari. Pag tapos na lahat ng filing ng responsive pleadings, dun lang ngayon nagsubpoena ng mga documents. And again, we were not even furnished copies. For example, the supplemental affidavit po of Mr. Ramil Madriaga. I think we all have to also recognize na sobrang layo niya dun sa original affidavit. No? I'm not saying that these are things that we will not respond to in case this goes on to trial. Of course, we will respond. But that is the position of the defense. Again, ito naman talagang issue na po na to is highly politically charged, highly divisive. So I would like to respect that the Committee on Justice as well as the complainants will have their position. Kami naman sa defense, we're just stating also our theory and our position on the matter.
Well, the impeachment trial is both it's both evidentiary and it's also both political. We know that, right? So I'm sure you've studied past impeachment cases, right? The late Chief Justice Renato Corona essentially was convicted, and what was discovered in the trial was his 200 million peso or more. I'm not sure if it reached 600, but I remember 200 million pesos in a bank account that was then, he was questioned why it was not declared in his SALN. So there are pieces of evidence that come to light when it already reaches the trial.
Yes.
What was wrong, essentially, you felt, what was lacking in what was submitted to the House? Because it was quite detailed, many people felt.
Opo. Number one, ang posisyon naman po namin dito is, again, what was quite detailed was procured not by the complainants but by the Committee on Justice. And for us, the function of the Committee on Justice is really to determine probable cause. And again, you're correct in saying that the threshold naman po is not that high in terms of probable cause. But sa atin, when you evaluate if a complaint, thus, if you can find probable cause in the complaint that was filed, you have to evaluate the complaint itself. It cannot be the Committee on Justice doing the job for the complainants to actually procure all these pieces of evidence. Ibang usapan kasi po pag nasa trial eh. Why? Because sa trial, we recognize even the bank secrecy law, the bank exception is cases of impeachment. So that can actually be subpoenaed in trial. No? However, that being the case, in trial, we at least have the opportunity to cross-examine and test the credibility of these witnesses. Now, if you have a certain, for example, again, and I'm sorry I have to keep on mentioning his name, but Mr. Ramil Madriaga, who presented a supplemental affidavit, and in that instance, we could not have even had the opportunity to test the credibility. In fact, even congressmen who wanted to ask and test the credibility were sort of, prevented from doing so only because they also wanted to be careful about asking probing
Oo.
questions. and
Pero
all that.
halimbawa kung ito'y nasa piskalya, ibalik natin doon kasi ito yung model eh. Can
Opo.
you test the credibility of a possible witness?
Wala. Ang nangyari kasi dyan, pinapupunta nila si Madriaga, pinasasalita, tapos bawal kang magtanong ng probing questions. Di ba? Anong point? What's the point?
Sa piskalya pala?
Opo, well, to be honest, kahit sa piskalya, yung mga abogado, hindi rin naman talaga pwede magtanong ng questions.
Oo.
We
So,
can only
kumbaga walang
submit questions.
pagkakaiba.
Ang pagkakaiba po sa piskalya, hindi naman si fiskal yung mismong kumukuha ng ebidensya na wala doon in the first place. Diba? Pwede silang magkaroon ng clarificatory hearing, that's true. They can also
Ayan o, paiyak-iyak oh.
perhaps based on the evidence. For example, kung may pinakita naman doon na SALN pero hindi certified true copy, wala namang masama if the fiscal would then procure the certified true copy through subpoena or compulsory process. Pero sa amin po talaga kasi ma'am, ang posisyon namin is dito, walang naka-attach at all eh. All they attached were PSA certifications, the committee report on the Committee on Good Government. So, we think that at some point, and again, this is, of course, we agree this is subject to debate, no? But at least for the position of the defense, dapat kasi talaga yung complainant, bago ka nag-file ng complaint, meron ka ng basihan, di ba? And meron ka ng ebidensya. Kasi kung hindi, anyone can just file a complaint and then politically, if the committee would allow, then the committee will be the ones procuring all these pieces of evidence through their compulsory processes. That's why even in our petition before the Supreme Court, we are actually questioning Section 7 of the rules of impeachment of the House also in terms of the extent of the use of compulsory processes.
But what do you make of the fact that the Supreme Court this time did not respond, right, in the manner that you would have wished? The Supreme Court did not issue a temporary restraining order. In other words, the House committee considered it as a win.
Well, the Supreme Court not issuing a TRO is definitely something that we of course felt strongly about the issuance of a TRO, but the fact that they didn't does not mean naman that they will eventually decide against us, diba? Kasi when you don't issue a TRO, perhaps the Supreme Court, I don't want to second guess the Supreme Court, but perhaps they didn't think that there was an urgency in doing so, and that's okay for us. No, in fact, last year we filed a petition, and we also asked for a TRO, and in that instance, you must remember that the Supreme Court also did not issue a TRO at that time. We don't want to question the wisdom of the TRO. So sa atin, we'll see. Our petition is still there. We'll see how they appreciate our arguments and having seen the conduct or the manner that these committee proceedings were conducted, we'll wait for the resolution of the Supreme Court on that matter.
Okay, so you talked about the House Committee on Justice. They themselves subpoenaing, in other words, issuing a subpoena for evidence that fiscals don't do. But let's talk about former Senator Antonio Trillanes. For example, former Senator Trillanes has had that accusation for over 10 years now. To be fair to Trillanes, even prior to Duterte winning the elections in 2016.
Karen, wag kang maniwala doon. Ni Trillanes. Wag kang maniwala doon.
Yes.
He already had those records, and we can stick with one, which is the bank account, the alleged
Ito sasagutin ito ni Atty. Poa.
bank account of former President Duterte and the Vice President.
Yes.
So may joint bank account sila, and he even knows the bank. It is BPI Julia Vargas. And he has the statements, the transactions, cash in and out of the account. Roughly in a span of time, it was at 1.2 billion in total, no? So I'm curious, does the Vice President deny the existence of that account?
Well, right now, of course, the defense team, we have a strategy on that matter. We cannot really fully disclose it. Perhaps one thing I could mention now is if you look at the transactions that were mentioned even in the AMLAC report, which includes, I suppose, no, allegedly, the list of
But is she
former
in that
senators.
account? In other words, at one point, useless rin pag pinatawag ang BPI. So you might as well say it. Does she have an account?
Well, actually, ma'am, that's the problem. We cannot really disclose the strategy because yes, you know, you do see that there's an account. There have been people who deposited, and the nomenclature of that account is, I think, Rodrigo Duterte or Rodrigo Duterte and Sara Duterte. Now, how we interpret that, is that her account? Does she have that account? That is something that will be tackled in trial, and that is something we're ready to confront. However, I beg your indulgence on this
Of
part.
course.
I can just not disclose the details because that will go into the defense already.
So, meron silang answer doon. Pero hindi nila pwedeng sabihin muna ngayon dyan. Kasi inihanda nila yan sa impeachment trial talaga sa Senado.
Because Attorney Poa, ang tanong dito, if it is proven that she is a part of that account, hypothetically, that let's say the bank confirms, yes, this is a joint account between the former president and the vice president. And then the bank says, and this happened already to Erap Estrada. The bank confirmed he is Jose Velarde, right? The bank confirmed, yes, this is Renato Corona's account.
Yes.
So when the bank comes in, this is considered, at least in the history of the impeachment trials we've had, a game changer. So ang susunod na tanong kasi is, why didn't she declare this in her SAL-N? Deposits to her name.
That's correct, ma'am. And that is exactly what we will respond to in
Yes.
the impeachment trial. No? We're ready with that. Of course, this is something we really anticipated kasi hindi na, kahit naman last year lumalabas na ito, lumalabas na rin sa social media yung mga nagde-deposit sa account na to. So you're right, that will probably be a question. In fact, that will certainly be a question, no? But that is something that we're ready to confront. But also remember that there are certain details in the alleged AMLAC report and these alleged accounts that were supposedly existent, sabi nyo nga 10 years ago, which is not covered, no, by impeachable offenses, as the Supreme Court has held in the case of Duterte versus HOR. Impeachable offenses only refer to offenses committed
Grabe, ang galing talaga ni Attorney Poe, ano?
while the impeachable officers in office. But having said that, that is not going to be our way, our sole way to just skirt around this issue. No, we will confront that issue on ownership, or does she own the account, and why it was not declared, straight on during the trial. We're ready for that, Ms. Karen.
Yan.
So,
So, ayan handang-handa na ang legal team ni VP Sara. Pero, syempre, yung strategy nila, hindi mo yan pwedeng i-booking muna ngayon dyan sa mga media. So, nire-reserve nila. Okay? So, ayan, you heard it right. What is your opinion? Yung mga nanonood ngayon sa Donmar TV, basahin natin ang mga komento ninyo sa comment section. Okay? Don't forget guys, tulungan nyo po na i-like at i-share itong video natin para kakalat ito sa taong bayan. Marami po ang makaalam na ganito na po ang mga nangyayari ngayon, no? And at the same time guys, sa mga hindi pa nakasubscribe, subscribe na po kayo kasi libre lang po ang mag-subscribe, no? Walang bayad yan. Okay? Updated pa kayo. So, see you in my next video. Have a great day. Have a great night. God bless po sa ating lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas and God save the Philippines. Bye-bye.